Good day everybody. How would you like to lose 5.5% more fat? That's right, 5.5% more fat than you are losing currently. By putting in no more work, by simply subjecting yourself to red and infrared wavelengths of light. That's pretty good, right? You would take that. All I have to do is sit in front or stand in front or lie down a red and infrared light and I will lose 5.5% more fat mass. That is pretty good. I will tell you how and I will tell you why after I've just talked about something else. And this thing is very important because ever since I started talking about vitamin D, UVB, sunlight exposure and health outcomes and immune function, the reach of my post has gone down. Now, that's either because people just don't care and they don't want to listen to it, or it's because of specific algorithms saying this isn't what we want to promote, and therefore we're going to restrict the reach of these posts. So what I'm asking you to do is, if you are interested in light and how it affects you negatively or positively, if you are interested in specific wavelengths of light and how they positively or negatively affect you, then please interact with this post in any way. A like, a wow, a laugh, even an angry thing is an interaction. But if you are of the opinion that light plays a crucial role in health and well-being of us, everybody, then please interact with this post. Back to the story at hand, fat loss. Fat loss and red light therapy or infrared light therapy. So if we look at one particular study in general, what we see is they took 64 women. Now, 64 women isn't particularly many women, but it gives us an idea. 64 women that were obese. And what they did over 20 weeks is they said, right, I want you to train 3 times a week. Again, not particularly much, 3 times a week. I think we can all agree that that is possible for us to do 3 times a week for 20 weeks. But then they gave one group of ladies photobiomodulation to do after, to do alongside the exercise. And what they found was that there were threefold actually. Number one, the ladies that had photobiomodulation alongside the exercise increased their insulin sensitivity to a greater extent, and in some cases reversed the insulin resistance. So if you are someone that is pre-diabetic and you have a certain amount of insulin resistance going on, which is becoming more and more of a problem, more and more prevalent, then we can say that the photobiomodulation will help on that sense. It'll help with your insulin sensitivity. And I've talked about it before in terms of glucose sensitivity and red light and glucose uptake with red light. It's an interesting part. It's an interesting mechanism to look into a little bit more. And so we've got the insulin sensitivity increases with photobiomodulation over just exercise alone. But one of the most astounding parts of the study showed that those that had exercise and photobiomodulation compared to just exercise alone lost 5.6% more fat mass than those that just had exercise alone. I'll say that again. Those that had photobiomodulation as well as exercise lost 5.6% more fat mass than those that just had exercise alone. Wouldn't you take that? Wouldn't you take an extra 5.5% fat mass loss? By doing no more work, all you have to do is be in front of a red light or a red and infrared light device. So that it doesn't, you can stand there, lie there, sit there, and you will lose 5.5% more fat. I mean, I think most people would, to be honest. Those of us that are overweight, those of us that have got a little bit left to do, and don't forget, right, so we are looking at increases in insulin sensitivity, which is a great thing to have. Insulin resistance leads to so many long-term injury or long-term illness, and so So the better our insulin sensitivity can be, the better, the better our health will be long term. And I've also said about the glucose control, the glucose sensitivity alongside that with red light. But don't forget the anti-inflammatory responses to the red light as well. Don't forget the skin rejuvenation responses to red light as well. So we're getting fat loss, we're getting increased fat loss, we're getting improved blood sugar control, we're getting better skin. So this is just one in a long line of benefits of using photobiomodulation. And then the third thing that they know is appetite suppression. So you start to become a little bit more homeostatic in your eating patterns. And by that I mean you eat when you're hungry. You don't eat when you're bored. You start to regulate and you start to rewire your brain back to how it was. Because don't forget, the foods that are out there now kind of skip over our wiring to eat when we're hungry and eat to a certain extent, our homeostatic eating. They're designed in order to supersede that or overcome that by combining fats and sugars. And what the photobiomodulation is able to do is it's able to suppress some of that appetite. But how does it help with fat loss? And so one of the things that they're able to see now is that specific wavelengths of light are able to open certain pores within the fat cell that allow lipids to leak out, and therefore are utilised at a greater rate, are utilised more efficiently than if they're staying in the body, if they're staying in the fat cells themselves. So this fat inside the fat cells is allowed to leak out and be used as a substrate for energy rather than just solely carbohydrates. So what it does is, as well as increasing these pores to open up, what it does is it simulates and stimulates adipocyte apoptosis, which is basically natural cell death, which encourages the cell to leak the lipids out of the cell and into the bloodstream. So we are getting a decrease in volume of adipocytes because they're leaking the fat out, and therefore you have a much bigger and better chance to utilize fat as a substrate. We are getting increased insulin sensitivity. We are losing more fat mass. We are getting rejuvenated skin. We are getting potentially increased muscle thickness. We are getting a remodulation of pain and anti-inflammatory responses of red light. So if you are seriously interested and you're still on the fence as to whether photobiomodulation or light in general can be beneficial to you, then just think about those things that I said. Just think about those positive benefits of light and photobiomodulation in general, and whether we're talking about increase in insulin sensitivity, glucose sensitivity, decrease in fat mass of 5.5% when combined with exercise, increased muscle mass size, increased time to exhaustion, increased cardiovascular endurance, increased peak torque, or i.e. power, increased or decreased anti-inflammatory, increased healing rate, decreased healing time. These are all things that have been shown to be improved with photobiomodulation. Isn't it about time that you thought, hold on, I could do with some of that in my life? And we haven't even touched upon mitochondrial efficiency and energy production on any given day. There's so much research out there. Lots of it, like the overwhelming majority is very, very positive. But of course there are two sides to every story, so have a look at it. I've only picked one study here, as I say. But if you are interested in losing 5.6% more fat mass than someone else that's just doing exercise alone, then isn't it time you thought about maybe I should get some photobiomodulation? Yep. And I've got today, and I might leave it until tomorrow for the 25% off on specific on specific models, 300 and 500. If you're interested in something else as well, please message me, because I've got another model that isn't actually online yet, but might be suitable for you. So please reach out and get in touch with me. Have a great day. Enjoy your health.